Do you ever wake up in the morning and think to yourself, wow, how am I going to make money today and how am I going to find stocks to trade? Well, I think we've all been there at one point in our trading careers or our lives. What's going on? It's your boy Jay Trades with Team Bull Trading, and today I'm going to take you through how I find stocks to trade pre-market, a little on how I formulate a watch list in the morning, and I'm going to show you how exactly I made a little over $4,000 in about 5 minutes today. So to start off, I want to show you a little of how I operate every single morning before the market opens. So as you guys know that have been following me for a while, I get up nice and bright and early in the morning, I go to the gym, I meditate, and then I come sit at this beautiful computer of mine and I get to work. So the first thing I do is I have two separate charts up, right? Now when I day trade, you guys know that I like to have 6 to 8 charts up. Typically I like to watch the 1 minute and the 5 minute chart, but when I'm finding levels pre-market, specifically this one on SQ I'm going to show you today, I like to have two charts up. Now I'm going to start with having the 1 year, 1 day, as we'll see here on this side, and I'm going to have the hourly chart over here. Now I use the 1 year, 1 day to find trends, to find candlestick patterns, and to find overall direction and trend of the market. So I like to keep this chart nice and naked as it keeps out a lot of the noise, lets me really analyze what's going on, it lets me find levels of support and resistance, which we'll go over as well. And over here, I have what I call my spaghetti chart up. Now I call it that because as you'll see, we'll pull it up. It's a whole list of EMAs, SMAs, linear regression lines, the VWAP, and other indicators such as volume, AVG, and RSI that I like to have on and ready to look at. So as you see here, it looks like a big plot of spaghetti. That's why I have it called that. But this can be very helpful. So we're going to go over what this means, what all these lines mean, and how they can help you as well later on in the video. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I'm going to keep this nice and clear so we don't have that distraction. Now, first things first, right? I'm going to go through, I like to go through the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 to start the day. So how you get there is on your TOS, you go to all the way to the right, go to personal, we're going to click here, go down to public RW, this is going to give us our S&P 500, go to here, public IR, we're going to go down, and this will give us our NASDAQ 100. So I'll go here, flip through stocks that I like. I won't typically look through all of them as many don't have volumes. We go here, we see anything we like, okay, we'll click down, on to the next. So let's say hypothetically, we get to SQ. I've been watching this since yesterday, that we had a nice level of resistance forming here on this 248. Now, as you'll see over here, I was watching SQ over 248 for calls this morning. That was the one trade I took today. And I got that by seeing that, okay, towards the end of the day yesterday, we got up to 247.75. We rejected down, came down to 246.1. Pre-market, we came and touched once, twice, almost 3 times, went down. Now on the hourly chart, we didn't have a lot to see. As we touched here a few times and we touched at a high of 247.75 like we just said yesterday. And so there was a little confirmation in the hourly, but our big confirmation came from pre-market this morning and our hourly chart. So next comes our spaghetti chart that we spoke about. Now let's throw that up here as we see here. And looking at this pre-market, now these lines move with the market. They update every hour or every time frame that you choose. So in this case, looking at this pre-market, none of these lines were here. And from our level of 248, now let's just reference this as 248 just for demonstration purposes, right? So let's say this is 248. Our next level of supply, right, was around 251.5. So it was around here. So we had this gap to fill. So I told my group chat, told myself, told my team, I said, okay, we like SQ over 248 because we have room to 251.5. I trade on the thesis that stocks move from supply to supply, and demand to demand. So we have this 248 right here. Our next level up was this 251.5 area. Now let's go to the 1 day, 1 minute to really see what price action occurred in that time period. So you see, we had this high 248 pre-market. We came, we orbed around, which if you look at my last YouTube video, I'm going to talk about the opening range breakout, the orb strategy. So we confirmed there. We come up, we have high volume, and we surpassed this 248. So we got calls. We bought into calls right here. As we see, we had no drawdown. Beautiful trade. Went up, 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 up. And we went a little over our next supply area. Beautiful trade. We can't really ask for more than that in a trade. We come, we buy in right here. We don't have any drawdown. Works out great. Now, does every trade work like that? Absolutely not. As I say in most videos I make, nothing in trading is 100%. So that's the basis of it. The trade worked out. We found this pre-market level here. We had the high yesterday to confirm it. We had some resistance here, so when we broke through, when we cleared out the sellers, we would more than likely, have breakthrough with some volume. We did just that. And so in addition to that, I'm going to show you a few other levels I found pre-market, why I found them, and to give you a better idea of how to find stocks to day trade pre-market, as I said at the start of the video, and how you could formulate your own watch list as well. Now, the next trade I want to talk to you about from the watch list is this piton, as we'll see over here. I want to talk about this because it's a trade I didn't take. I actually called this a void in our group chat, but I shouldn't have done it. And I'll show you where I went wrong in this so you don't make the same mistake as I did. So the call out initially was that we wanted piton over 128 for calls. As we see, we did not get there. And we also wanted it for a 124 bounce. And you see yesterday on this hourly chart, we had a key area of confluence. I like to call it an area where we bounced and we also exploded over. We had this bounce around 123. And we had this next opening candle around 124. So I said to the team, I wanted to watch for a bounce as it was a strong stock pre-market. We gapped up a little bit. But towards the open, you see that we had some selling pressure. We had some weakness. So as we gapped down, we got towards this particular bounce spot. We'll go to the 1 day, 1 minute and check this out. You see that we came down to 124.12 and then bounced back up a little bit. I'm not the type of person to take bounces on stocks when we go and we almost touch the level and then we bounce back up. Why? Because it shows that buyers bought the stock back up here, and those buyers might not be so relentless, so strong if we go back down again. So as you see, we came down to 124.1, we bounced up a little to 124.46, and we came back down. I called the bounce off here because we flushed it immediately and went down to this 123.68. Now, where did I mess up? I messed up in the sense that if we go back to the hourly, and we look at this, I should have had my bounce spot between 123 and 124, not a hard 124. What we should have done is said, okay, you know what? We're going to start scaling in at 124. We're going to add a little more down to 123. And if we close our next 1 to 5 minute candle below that, we're going to get out for a small loss. That's what I should have done. Did I do that? No. I was in a trade of SQ. I typically only take one trade at a time as a day trader. That's where my edge is. I like to focus my money on one trade at a time, have one good trade, which, might I add, was one of my favorite trading books I've ever read by Mike Bellafiore. Absolutely fantastic book. And I like to, focus on stocks and play. So one trade at a time. I was in SQ. I saw this, didn't like the price action, didn't like the trading plan I had, so I avoided it, though I shouldn't have done that. As you see here, we came down. We bounced this 123.3 pretty beautifully, this whole area, and we climbed all the way up to 127.18. So, on a stock like Piton, those options went up fantastic. Would have been a great trade, low risk, high reward potential. I just didn't trade it right. That's something I think that you guys can learn. You'll notice too, to go into bounces and looking at pre-market stuff, that I find a lot of my levels from previous bounce spots as the stock market is very psychology driven. So, you and I watching this video, we see the same thing. We see when stocks bounce, when buyers step in, when volume comes in, and history has a pattern of repeating itself. So, a lot of times you'll see stocks bounce in the same place. You'll see support turn to resistance, resistance turn to support. And you got to start thinking about your trading in that sense. Whenever you're buying a stock, you're buying it from someone else. Whenever you're selling a stock, you're selling it to someone else. Whenever you're buying a bounce, you're buying that. If there's a lot of volume, you're buying that with other people. Enough people buy into a stock, the stock goes up. It's all supply and demand. And that's why these simple levels typically work. There's a million different ways to look for stocks pre-market. There's a million different ways to find stocks in play. But I like to keep it simple. I have a saying I like to tell myself, it's called KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. And, for me, that's worked great. I look for key areas of volume, key areas of confluence pre-market. That's how I find my stocks. We'll go over one more example here. As you'll see over here, ticker symbol MRVL, which is the stock for Marvel. We had a very nice trade in this today. Now, a very nice level, I should say. I didn't personally take the trade, as I showed you before. I only took one, but this level was beautiful. I wish I would have taken it. The call out was Marvel over 57 per calls. How did we find that level pre-market? More importantly, was this. So you see at the end of the day, again, we had this level we touched a little above 57, 57.02. We dipped down towards market close. We came up, we touched that same level pre-market again, dipped down. That showed that we had some resistance there, and that if we could clear those sellers, there's a good chance we would go up. So let's go back to the 5 day, 5 minute, or let's go to the 1 day, 1 minute to start. We see, we touched that level, we came down, and when we finally surpassed that 57 level, We came with no drawdown, went up, all the way to 57.5. We get some selling, we get some profit taking as we see down here. Tumbled a little bit, came down close to that previous resistance turn support, and then rocketed the rest of the day all the way up to 58.38. Now, if I would have taken this trade, I would have gotten in at 57, more than likely taken profits somewhere in here, or started to scale out, cut the rest at break even if we did stay in, and that would have been how the trade went. We can't, hindsight is 2020. We could say we would have done this, would have done that, but that's how I like to trade in general. I like to get in, scale out profits, which is called trimming. I'll go over that in another video as well, and take profits on the way up. You can't get greedy. Let's say we held this whole position to here and then started coming down. We more than likely would have gotten stopped out. That's not how we want to trade. So would have gotten in, scaled profits up to here, came out. The watch list level worked beautifully, and for those in the chat that got in, congratulations. You'll love to see it. And yeah, so that's a basic overview of how I find stocks pre-market, how I find stocks today trade. I keep it simple, stupid, look for areas of resistance, use my supply and demand charts, and I stick to what I know works. I stick to where my edge is in the market, and I stick to what I know I can trade profitably and what I know I can do. So if you have any questions, my Instagram is jdun_trades. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be coming out with content every single day, hopefully help you guys out, show you a little how I trade, my journey as a trader, and to inspire you in your trading endeavors and journeys as well. So hope you all have a good night, study up, take care.